Hello guys, welcome to Shexel tutorial. In this video, we're going to look at the ISO 9001 gap analysis tool. Alright, so what is this tool all about? This is a unique tool for identifying gaps in your quality management system against the ISO 9001 standard. Now, this is an important requirement if you're looking to get certified to the ISO 9001 standard. It's very important that you identify the gaps and implement improvement actions to close those gaps in order to get ready for the first surveillance audit towards the process of achieving an ISO certification in accordance to 9001 standard. So the template has already been pre-built. We've done all the work for you. So without further ado, let's get straight into the features. Now, like all our templates, we have the table of content where users can use for easy navigation within the workbook. That is part of the ergonomic features of the template to ensure that users can actually navigate easily. Now, over here is the approved list. So there's a list of parameters for root causes, action priority, and action status. Users have the option to add on to the root causes. All right, now we have the scoring criteria. The scoring criteria is based on the yes and no response, where yes indicate the presence of the clause requirements having been implemented and can be verified by an available documented information or an established process, whereas the no response indicate that the clause requirement has not been implemented and cannot be verified by any available documented information or an established process. All right, so this is slightly different from an auditing tool. Now take note, an auditing tool is looking to ascertain the level of compliance with the ISO 9001 standard. As a result, the tool elicits responses such as compliance, major or minor non-conformance, and opportunity for improvement. This is different from the gap analysis scoring criteria. We are only looking at the yes and no, indicating presence or absence of the clause requirements being demonstrated by way of documented information or an established process. Now, next is the gap analysis checklist. Now, this is similar to the auditing tool, as you're aware. There's massive similarities between that and auditing tool because we have the clauses, the sub clause, and then the various questions that make up or that support the clause. All right, now all you need to do is just provide your yes and no response to indicate the presence or absence of the clause requirement in the management system. Now, as you provide these responses, they get all these sections get calculated for you because we've already pre-designed it. So you're going to see the scores, the gaps, and the level of implementation for the various clauses. All right, now as you provide your responses, this section gets populated automatically, which is a gap analysis summary report. Now, this section has been pre-built, it's been password protected, you have no business here. All right, this template is only for information purpose, and we use this for most of the reports. All right, now we have the implementation plan. All the no responses that you provide here automatically get transferred onto the implementation plan, and you would have to provide the improvement action, the person responsible, the target date, the action priority, and the action status. Now, the days will be tracked automatically for you. All right, take notes, that is only when you register no responses. All right, now if there are no responses, then it's going to be blank over there. All right, now take note that after you've provided your response in the gap analysis checklist, what is important to do next is to come to the data tab on the menu and you click on refresh all. Refresh all will update the dashboard. Now, this is a dashboard. As you can see, the dashboard is very, very insightful. The overall goal is to estimate the gaps that exist in the management system. All right, so as per the dashboard, you can see we have 3% gap in the management system, and that is with regards to 4 gaps that have been identified. And again, we have 316 of the standard requirements having been implemented, and that sum up to an overall 97% score, indicating the level of implementation of the standard requirements in the management system. So this is a very, very insightful report. You can see the number of gaps and the number of standard requirements that have been implemented, and then over here also you can see the levels of implementation for the various clauses and for the various clauses. All right, so clearly we have the context, which is showing as 58%. All right, now over here the various report that we use for making the dashboard. So this one is just showing the various levels of implementation for the various clauses. Over here we are looking at the gaps and the standard requirement that have been implemented, and over here we're looking at the audit gap analysis finding, which is the number of clause requirements that have been implemented and the number of gaps that exist. Over here is the subclauses levels of implementation, and you can see that we have significantly 100% implementation across the board except for organizational context and relevant interested parties. All right, and then last but not the least, we have the action status. So we have two actions that are open and two have been closed. Now take note, these action statuses are coming from the implementation plan, and there you have it. You have two actions open, two actions closed. Now take note that you have the option to do some root cause analysis. If you're interested in doing a bit of root cause, you may want to utilize it. You select from the drop down list, and take note the drop down list is taking a source from the approved list. So if you build on the list of the approved list for the root causes, then you can be able to select them from this drop down list. Now take note that root causes in general can basically be utilized. Now take note that root causes generally are more applicable to auditing, where you identify deviation in the form of non-conformance and you do your root cause analysis and establish the root cause. However, we only provided this for users who want to utilize it. If you don't need root causes in the gap analysis tool, all you need to do is just delete the column or hide the column. All right. So that is it, guys. This is how interesting this template is. Now, if you want to use this template, just take note that we've done the work for you. The template is pre-built. We've done majority of the work for you. All you need to do is just provide your yes and no response. Now, let me just show you one thing. We have four, actions that need to be closed, or we have four gaps in the system. Now, assuming that we have no gap in the system, that's what happens if all your responses are in the positive or are in the affirmative. That means that there's no gap. If you come to implementation plan, as you can see, it has vanished. So all we need to just delete this section, because this section is actually where we had to do a bit of manual entry to close the actions and things like that. Now let's go to the dashboard and look at what happens. All right, so we don't have any gap in the system. We come to the data tab on the menu, we click on refresh all, and that shows that we have 100% of the standard requirements having been implemented. So we are good to go for the first surveillance audit in order to get our ISO certification. All right, or maybe after the surveillance audit, then you have a few non-conformance to correct and things like that. All right, so this is a very, very great tool. This is one of the best tools you ever find on the market that gives you a lot more insight into gap analysis. All right, so let me just bring back the data, the changes that I made, just to make sure that everything goes back to normal. And I come to the dashboard and I refresh all. All right, so we have the 3% gaps and 97% of the standard requirements being implemented. All right, so that's it, guys. Thank you all for your attention. In case you are interested in this template, all you need to do is just come to our website www.shexcel.com and just scroll all the way to the middle. So currently we are in the middle section of the website. Just come over here. There you have it. You have the ISO 9001 gap analysis tool. You click on it. All right, you click on it and wait for the page to load. So that's it right there. It's gonna load. It's taking some time because my internet is a bit slow. But once the page loads, once the page loads, all you need to do is just scroll down and click on the download button. All right, so the download button will take you to the download page where you can actually make the purchase. All right, so this video is going to be right here for you to see. Okay, so thank you all for your attention and see you again soon in another video. Bye for now.